I'm going to go ahead and start this quick presentation. Again, it's only a few slides, but definitely if you have questions during the presentation, note them down and we can address any questions after the presentation when I open that up. So welcome, Engineering Undeclared. What I regard to as one of the best majors here in the College of Engineering, because you have the option to declare any of the single majors that we have available here in engineering after you've taken some courses and kind of figure out what you want to do and what you want to declare. So my name is Joey Wong. I'm here at ESS, and I'm the advisor for engineering undeclared students. To get started, we'll go over some basic quick semester requirements. Keep in mind that you need to be in 12 units and 2 technical courses towards a major each semester. These technical courses need to be taken for a letter grade, and the minimum GPA students need to maintain while they're here is 2.0, which is a C average. Now, planning your first semester can be a little tricky for engineering undeclared students just because, you're kind of thinking about or juggling, a few different majors that you might want to pursue and check out. But we have a plan to kind of help you guide you in that progress. Most of you have probably already completed the online orientation, GBA, and Module 3, which is the college orientation part for new students. And you've submitted a possible proposal of schedule for your first semester, and most I've probably reviewed and replied back to you already. If you haven't, definitely reach out to me and send me an email, but you all should have gotten a reply to your proposed schedule. During your first semester, a possible first semester course schedule would involve a math course, engineering course, maybe a chemistry or physics course, and then also a HSS, Humanities Social Science course. And then there's also a couple seminars that are geared towards particularly students in engineering undeclared major. The E92 is a seminar that helps expose students to the different majors here in College of Engineering. Each week, a different guest lecture, usually a faculty from a different department, comes in and talks about their area of research and their studies, and kind of expose you to that particular department or major. The idea is that after that seminar goes over, you'll get kind of a feel or a taste of what each department or major field kind of focuses on, and ideally that guides you into what major you might want to pursue and declare. Some of you will have AP chemistry and come in with this requirement satisfied, but even if you have satisfied the chemistry requirement, there are some reasons why students would want to take Chemistry 1A, 1AL, and those are listed on the bottom. Usually students who are thinking about medical school may want to take chemistry here, even though they've tested out of it. And students who are interested in majoring in chemistry or chemical engineering may want to consider taking general chemistry again, even though they've tested out. Other options besides chemistry could involve physics, could involve an engineering course or a technical course for your major. Now, one of the seminars that I briefly talked about earlier, E98, is a particular seminar geared towards welcoming and guiding students into the Berkeley engineering kind of life. It meets once a week, and it's very, very little homework. It covers things like campus life, resume building, interview tips, possible internship and research options, and also possible majors in terms of getting connected with students in different fields and different programs. That's Engineering 98, and that's a student-led, engineering student-led decal during the fall semester. Now, here's an important slide in terms of what you could be thinking about majoring in and declaring. So if you're thinking about ECS, which is electrical engineering, computer science, the course that you may want to consider would be CS61A, or if you don't have as much computer programming background, starting with CS8 or CS10 could be an option. And then also list, possible first course options for the different majors that you're could be interested in. So a lot of these are set up to be introductory exposure classes into that particular major, like CE 70 or IUR 66, are designed to give you a taste of what those majors and what those department focuses on and does. Here's a sample undeclared schedule. I think most of you've already submitted a schedule, and some of your schedules may be very like this or not, which is okay. If there's any feedback on your proposed schedule, I've sent that to you already. So definitely, if you haven't checked your Berkeley email account, definitely check there to see if you may have gotten a reply back from my email to your proposed class schedule that you submitted in Module 3 during the online orientation. If there's another sample schedule, if you have AP in terms of Calculus BC and you're going on to Math 53 or 54. Now, phase 1 of enrollment starts in July. That enrollment date should be available to you on your CalCentral dashboard or academics page. So make sure you're aware of that date and that start time for your enrollment. When that starts, all you need to do is start enrolling in some of the courses that you've submitted in your proposed class schedule. You're able to enroll up to 17 units during your phase 1. So most of you should be able to enroll in pretty much every course that you've proposed to take during your first semester. And for your first semester, we usually recommend for students to stick around the unit range of 13 to 15, somewhere around there. Declaring your major. So, the benefit of being engineering undeclared is that you are able to declare a major as early as the end of your first semester. So, once you've finished your first semester, if you know what major you want to do, you can declare then. And then also you can declare any single major in COE as long as you're in academic good standing. Now, students who are engineering undeclared must declare by the end of your 4th semester. So that's towards the end of your sophomore year. That spring, you would need to or want to declare, because as you go into your junior year, most likely you'll be starting or already taking some upper division courses in which it would be more ideal for you to be declared into that major. And that's pretty much the end of our presentation. And I'm going to open it up for some questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to chat in the chat function, and I can definitely try to answer as many questions as possible. So Seth's question is, should we still do E92 if we already have an idea of what engineering we want to do? So that's a good question. You don't need to take E92 if you know for sure which major you want to declare, and that's totally fine. But the thing with E92 is that even if you know which major you want to do, it may be beneficial for you to expose yourself to those guest lectures from different departments and different majors. It's very little work, and it's only graded on a pass, not pass basis, and it's pretty much attendance based graded, and you only meet once a week. So the criteria for passing that course is not high, and the benefit of being able to get kind of a feel for every department or every major in the college is can be beneficial. So I hope that answers your question. Jimmy asks, what is the process for declaring chemical engineering since it is not part of the College of Engineering? So that's a good question. We're a little different in that chemical engineering isn't housed in the College of Engineering. Many other universities, that's not the case. Our College of Chemistry is at the actual college for chemical engineering. So if you're wanting to do chemical engineering, then you want to look at the change of college process into College of Chemistry. So what you want to do is take a look at the chemical engineering curriculum and kind of structure your schedule to satisfy some of those requirements. Before coming to College of Engineering, I was actually advising for College of Chemistry and advising for chemical engineering students. So I can definitely help you kind of shape a schedule that will help you, one, stay on track of College of Engineering requirements, and two, also put you in a good place to apply to switch into chemical engineering and College of Chemistry if that's what you decide to do after you've taken some classes here. Next question is, how early can we declare our major? Can we declare it before the end of the first semester? So, that was covered in the presentation. You can declare as early as the end of the first semester, and you can declare as late as the fourth semester. So you can submit your declaration at the end of your first semester, but we'll still hold off until your grades come in for that end of first semester to declare you. And the criteria to declare is not high. It's at a 2.0. As long as you're in good academic standing, you'll be able to declare the major that you want to at the end of your first semester. Next question is, when I picked my schedule, it said the recommended units was 12 and I was at 15. Do you think this will be too difficult for someone's first semester? So that's going to vary depending, from student to student. We recommend to stay around the units for your first semester to be, somewhere around 13 to 15 is probably the most average. 12 is definitely okay as well, because 12 is the minimum number of units. And we definitely recommend, during your first semester to take that minimum. You'll have time to take more units later on if you decide to. It's just that for that first semester, there's a lot of transition into college things that you will want to give yourself some time to adapt to and to learn. because college is going to be a little different than high school. So that first semester is when we recommend you stick close to the 12 unit minimum, and then beyond that, you'll get a good gauge of what you're able to handle and time manage and juggle, and you can take more units after that. Next question is Physics 7A or B, a class that we will have to take sooner or later? So yes, you will have to take that sooner or later, because Physics 7A and 7B is pretty much required for all the College of Engineering majors. So you'll need to take the Physics 7A or 7B sooner or later. When you take it really kind of depends on how much preparation you're coming in with in terms of AP or previous physics classes and things like that. All right, next question. How can we get into honors EECS? Well, the honors program for EECS is handled through the EECS department, and there are certain criteria that students have to follow to do the honors program in EECS. I would recommend that you check the website, not the College of Engineering website, but the specific department EECS website on their honors program for undergraduate, and kind of look at the criteria for that. Victor asks, are there any advantages to declaring a major early, as in after your first semester? Even if you know which major you want to pursue, why not wait until the end of your sophomore year? All right, that's a good question. The kind of special thing about engineering undeclared is that you have priority to get into a lot of those listed introductory classes for the different majors. So like the CE and the Bio E10 are introductory classes to those specific departments and majors. And engineering undeclared students have specific priority into getting into some of those lower division introductory departmental classes like that. But if you know for sure what major you want to do and you're progressing along, and in your second and third semester and fourth semester, you're starting to take upper division courses in a particular major or department, then at that point, you would want to be a declared major because you would get priority into those specific courses. Whereas if you're still engineering undeclared, you wouldn't get priority into those later on upper division specific courses to that specific major. I hope that makes sense, Victor. If that doesn't, let me know. Next question. Seth asks, I took Calculus AB my junior year and Stats my senior year. Should I still do Math 1A? Okay, so, going through the online orientation, there should have been a whole section on kind of selecting and helping you choose your first math type course. And the way to do that, I would suggest, or I would advise that you kind of look at the sample midterm and final questions for Math 1A and maybe Math 1B as well, and see how familiar you are with those problems. If you feel pretty comfortable about those final exam questions and midterm exam questions, then you can make that decision of using your AP score to advance forward, or to take the course and kind of build your foundation or solid kind of background into that math, because math is something that's taught very differently from school to school. And from what we've experienced in the past, students who come in with AP calculus are on varying different levels of proficiency, even though they've taken AP Calc AB or AP Calc BC. So it really depends on the student and how familiar and how comfortable you feel with the material. All right, next question. James asks, if I'm intended to become an EECS major, should I still take physics and chemistry if I pass both of those introductory courses with AP scores? So if your intention is to for EECS, then I would recommend that you use your AP scores for chemistry and for physics. So James, if you've scored high enough for chemistry, then you don't need your natural science requirement. That chemistry AP scores satisfies your natural science requirement for EECS. And then for physics, if you've scored a 5 on the MEC C exam for physics AP, then that should AP you out of the physics 7A requirement. More info on AP exams, IB exams, higher level exam credits are available online, and definitely check in if you have any questions about what AP score satisfies what. All right, next question. Seth, is a PC recording recommended over Mac? I'm not quite sure what that means, Seth. Oh, okay. You didn't mean to put recording. All right. So is PC recommended over Mac? We don't have really a preference in terms of PC or Mac. All the systems and all the programs and things like that are pretty compatible with both these days. So I would recommend that if you're looking at either buying or purchasing a laptop or computer for school, whether it be PC or Mac, to just get something that's within your budget and that you're comfortable with. All right, Nathan asks, other than Engineering 92 and 98, are there any other things we can do to explore the different engineering majors? All right, thanks for that question, Nathan. So besides those Engineering 92, 98, each major or department has like an introductory kind of course that's available for students in engineering undeclared to take to kind of explore. So, if you're interested in bioengineering, then definitely look into taking bioengineering 10. If you're interested in civil engineering, then definitely take civil engineering 70. And, it's okay to take more than one introductory course to a department if you're interested in taking that during your first semester. If you feel like you've narrowed your major choices down to IUR and BioE, then BioE 10 and IUR 66 both can be taken during your first semester, along with Engineering 92. In terms of exploring different majors in engineering, not all of it has to be through academics as well. Once you arrive on campus, you'll have a lot of opportunities to talk to students, meet with student groups in the different majors, and get a sense of what they're kind of researching and kind of doing. And that hopefully will guide you in what you may want to declare and do as well. It's not all just the academics that's going to help guide you in declaring or deciding on an engineering major that you want to do. It's talking to students, talking to faculty, talking to the department, talking to student groups, and all sorts of things. All right, James asks, is it worth retaking Math 53/54 at Berkeley? If you've satisfied that requirement already somehow through either a community college course that is evaluated as equivalent or a course that you've taken at a university that's evaluated as equivalent, then you don't need to retake it here. So I would suggest that if you've taken a equivalent and evaluated as equivalent course elsewhere, then you can, spend your time taking something else that would further benefit you. And that is, I think, the last question we have on the chat. Any more questions? I mean, it doesn't have to be questions as well. It can be anything. All right, Victor asks, do the 17 units that we can enroll in also include courses we are put on the wait list for? So the answer to the question is yes, it does count towards your 17 unit max limit for that phase 1 enrollment time. If you're not sure what courses and you're still deciding, I would say, even though we recommend a 12 unit, 13 unit course load for your first semester, you can enroll in 17 units during your phase 1. And then, you have an option of dropping one course within the, designated drop deadline period, of course. But, having that course be dropped at a later point, you can go to the class, try it out for the first, week or two, and then decide which class you want to keep, and then drop down to your desired unit load, even though you're enrolled. You first enroll in 17 units. That's what many students do, and that's a good option to have in terms of enrollment. All right, Seth asks, would it be wise to take both Engineering 98 and Engineering 92 in the same semester? Sure, why not? They'll both be different in that Engineering 98 is a more student-oriented, student-ran decal, and it'll expose you to students who are already in the College of Engineering and doing specific or different majors. So that gives you, in terms of the social aspect of learning about different student groups, about learning from students how their first couple years in College of Engineering was. And then Engineering 92 will give you more of like that academic research side of the aspect of the different majors, because every week instructors or professors will come in and talk about the research that they're doing. Raghov asks, since MET is offered by COE, is it possible for undeclared students to declare MET as their major? So unfortunately, no, that would not be possible. MET is kind of a program that is only accepted through the admission process. So MET is not a major that students can declare or change into, but only applied to through the freshman admission process. Hope that makes sense. All right, James asks, HSS courses that are the most interesting and not too much work. Okay, sure. There are definitely a lot of HSS courses. There's no specific one that I would recommend, but I would advise that when you choose your HSS course, to look for something that you're interested in and hopefully passionate about learning, and that hopefully gets you to be able to be more engaged in the class. The HSS course, our College of Engineering HSS requirement is relatively low, so you don't have that many courses and requirements to take. There's only students don't usually have an issue completing HSS requirement. And specifically with the HSS courses, students are able to take it for a pass, not pass basis. And so it's, the idea is it doesn't add too much pressure to your schedule. The only HSS courses that you need to take for letter grade are the reading and composition requirement courses. Next question is, when will the decal course list for fall 17 be released? That's a good question. My guess is by August or the first week before classes start. The decal courses are usually a later setup in that students enroll in sub-decals pretty late into the semester, after the semester starts even, because many of the decals are student-ran and student-led. So a lot of that planning and that scheduling and that stuff actually starts once students arrives back on campus. So it's some decals you won't be able to enroll in until after the semester starts and after instruction starts. And some decals don't start until week 2 or 3 into discussion or into instruction. But I would just keep an eye online at decal.berkeley.edu for when that fall 17 class will be released. All right, next question. Victor asks, how are different enrollment times determined? Is it a lottery? So for the first enrollment phase, every freshman should be pretty similar in time. So you're either starting to enroll, I think July 11th is pretty much when most freshmen are enrolling. And in terms of time, it's random. So that time, enrollment time and date is usually randomly generated by the Office of Registrar. All right, next question. How can we plan a joint degree? Well, that's a good question. So a joint degree, we have a few of them, and the program for joint degrees are listed on the engineering website. So if you have a particular joint degree in mind, we can definitely work to kind of schedule your schedule to kind of go towards those two majors. And then once you get deeper into the joint degree major and schedule and program, that's when the more specific joint degree program courses are going to be required. So if you look online under engineering.berkeley.edu, there should be under degree requirements, you should be able to see a joint major program kind of plan and structure for the 4 years, similar to any one of the other single majors. All right, next question. Is it advisable to take 18 units, including a 2-unit seminar, if 6 of those units are taken PMP? Again, this, the unit question is going to be very, student specific. It's going to depend on how comfortable you are with, juggling and time managing the courses that you take your first semester. Have I seen freshmen take 18 units and do spectacular and do well? Of course, yes. I have seen students in their first semester take 18 units and done fine and done well. So it's going to be up to you in terms of how many units you enroll in your first semester. Just keep in mind the add drop deadlines and change schedule like deadlines, so that you can make your changes before that deadline comes. Next question: how helpful is pre-engineering program? Seth, are you asking about the prep program, right? The program that is geared to start before the orientation. So I'm definitely a big fan of the prep program. It helps students kind of get acclimated with the campus and with the school, and also helps students form social circles before um, the orientation starts. So, if you have the opportunity to participate in the prep program, I would recommend it. Next question. John asks, how difficult is getting into classes for a minor outside the College of Engineering? All right, that's a good question. It really depends on the minor program. Each department handles their enrollment for classes differently. Some programs restrict it to their majors only, and some department programs are pretty open in terms of enrollment. So, it's really depends on the minor or the department that you're interested in taking for the course. Definitely take a look at the course attribute when you're enrolling in the course, and that should specify if there's reserved spaces and reserved seats for a particular group of students. That can be found in your schedule planner. Nathan asks, if I want to study abroad, how should I arrange that? Great. We love students to go study abroad. I'm a big fan of students doing that. You have the option of going in the summer or going during the academic year. We have a specific study abroad office called the Education Abroad Program, EAP office, and they have set up a lot of programs with a lot of countries for students to go study abroad if they choose to do so. And there isn't really a normal time where students go study abroad. Um, you know, just whichever fits your schedule and timing in that works for you. In terms of what I would recommend to consider for studying abroad is actually earlier than most would kind of consider doing study abroad. Um, my recommendation for study abroad would be for that summer between freshman year and sophomore year, which is a little earlier than usual, I know, but at the same time, it really gives students that study abroad exposure early on. And I find that a lot of students during that freshman sophomore summer end up going home and end up doing maybe a summer session class of some sort. Um, and to me, I feel that's better served doing a study abroad program. And that's before students really get into their internship and research opportunities, where students in their sophomore, junior year have better preparation for internship opportunities and research opportunities. It's less common for freshmen that first summer between freshman and sophomore year, that they get a internship or a research opportunity. So that summer is actually prime to go study abroad and get that experience and exposure. And then the summers following sophomore year and junior year can be like internship or research oriented and things like that. Hope that makes sense. Next question, Shannon asks, since engineering is such a demanding major, is it advisable to double major or minor? Um, we have students who do double majors and we have students who do minors. It's really hard to say whether you should or shouldn't pursue that if you haven't, taken some courses here and kind of gotten a feel for, the course and workload here at Cal. But I would say, after your first semester, after your first year, that's when you have probably a good gauge of if you want to try to do a double major or if you want to pick up a minor or something. Then that's when you would start, kind of exploring and start taking some of those classes that would lead you to be able to do that double major or minor. probably after the first semester. Victor asks, how early should I begin putting together a multi-year schedule for a 5-year BS plus master's program? Right now, I mean, right now it could be a little early in your first semester. I think like the question before with Shannon asked double major or minor. I think after your first semester is when you get a good idea and gauge of the course workload and demand here at Berkeley, so that you get a better feel and gauge of how many classes and how fast you would progress through the curriculum. Without experiencing that first semester or that first year, it's really hard to say kind of what you want or what you want to or able to in terms of doing a double or doing a multi-year plan for a 5th-year master's program. Next question is, will you no longer be our ESS advisor if we declare? Unfortunately, no. So once you declare into a specific major and you're no longer engineering undeclared, you would be going into or assigned a different advisor depending on what that major is. So currently I advise EECS students, but that also could change relatively soon as our office kind of does a change in terms of cohort handling. So, depending on which ESS advisor is assigned to that particular major or that particular alpha group that you're declaring, you'll be switched over to a different ESS advisor. Next question is, if we want to enroll in different courses than the ones mentioned in our proposed schedule, should we email you the newer selection of courses? That's a good question, because I have been getting some of those emails, and the answer is no, you don't have to email me. If your changes to your proposed schedule is minor, then you definitely don't need to email me. If there are going to be major changes, then it would be helpful to send me an email and let me know. But we know that schedule changes are going to take place. That schedule that you submitted in online orientation module 3 is just a proposed schedule. Depending on class availability, depending on change of interest, we know that your proposed schedule could change. We just want to make sure that it's at least some sort of structure or reasonable for your first semester, so that you're not taking 25 units or something and going rogue. All right, Seth asks, how is the Engineering 25 course? Engineering 25 course is one of the core courses for the mechanical engineering major, and it's kind of the first course in a series of design courses in terms of Engineering 25, 26, and 27. And it's described as a drawing course, and it's also described as pretty intense in terms of workload for the amount of units you're getting for Engineering 25. So we advise that treat it like almost like a 4-unit class, even though you're not getting 4 units for it. But it's a series, and 25 may not be one of the best introductory courses because it's a series of courses with 25, 26, 27. But it'll give you a good taste of design course workload. If you're really thinking about mechanical engineering, Engineering 25, and then also Design Innovation 15 could be a couple of courses that you consider taking. Next question, if I'm looking at going down the MEC-E road, should I take that first semester? Yeah, so that's something that we mentioned earlier. So E25 and then also Design Innovation 15 are the couple courses that you kind of want to explore and take if you're thinking about mechanical engineering as a major. We have about 10 minutes, 10 more minutes before we start to wrap up. Any questions or last minute questions anyone has, definitely feel free to pop into the chat and submit those questions. Next question, Seth asked, if Engineering 25 isn't the best introductory course, what courses would you consider to be superior? Well, there aren't any best introductory courses for ME. Like I said, Engineering 25 is kind of one course in a series of courses. So for ME in particular, E25 is one of the probably, I guess, quote unquote, best introductory courses to take for mechanical engineering. Engineering 25 and, like I said, Design Innovation 15 are the two maybe possible courses that you could consider taking in your first semester. And then once you take E25 and you feel like you like the Mech E route, then taking E26, E27 will give you definitely a really good idea of whether Mech E is what you want to do, because 26 is kind of the modeling course and 27 is kind of like the manufacturing or fabrication kind of course. So kind of like E25 is like the design, and then 26 is kind of like the modeling, and then 27 is kind of like the actual manufacturing and fabrication. So it's like a series of course. So there's no one one specific course. All right, Shannon asked, if I'm thinking about declaring mechanical engineering, do you suggest taking CS anyway? Yes. The thing about engineering, and specifically our engineering and College of Engineering, is that a lot of the majors are kind of interconnected and interdisciplinary in terms of overlap. So there is a lot of programming involved in majors that are outside of CS or EECS. So, if you're thinking about Mech E, there is a computer engineering 7 course that is required for students to take. Engineering 7 is the intro to programming for a Mech E major student, and that's a MATLAB course. Next question is it possible to take up a double major in IEOR, EECS, and business? A couple of peers indicated that it's an insane idea. Yes, so let's take a look. Yes, okay, so it is possible. It's it's not insane, but you're able to do a simultaneous degree with EECS and business or IUR in business if you're not in the MET program. So the MET program is kind of this joint program between College of Engineering and then also our Haas School of Business. So we've been getting a lot of questions in terms of students who didn't apply for admission into the MET program, but want to do something that's similar to the MET program. And that would be a simultaneous degree between EECS, IUR, and business in the Haas School of Business. And, it is possible, but it is going to be a lot of coursework and a lot of work. Just like the MET program would be. So yeah, it is possible. Seth asked, will you please send us the Prezi? Yes, I can definitely send you the Prezi and attach it as a PDF to the email that was sent out with the meeting. John asked, how rigorous is MSE 45? Is there any benefit to taking this if I'm still not sure if I want to do a major in material science and engineering? So, ME 45 is the properties of materials course. And it's it's an introductory course to MSE, but it's not a course that usually students take during their first semester or even first year. There are other courses that are prereqs to MSE 45. So there are, a few courses that you want to consider taking to get you exposed to MSE besides, the materials course. And let me take a look if I can quickly pull that up in terms of what you could consider. So MSE, courses like Engineering 7, which is a computer programming course, a lot of the, lower division math, physics, science courses is what you want to consider. And then also, in the E92 seminar, when the MSE faculty comes in to give that talk, definitely ask a lot of questions and talk to them even after the class to get a good feel of material science engineering as a major. Victor asked, if we are waitlisted for a course, when do we ultimately enroll or drop the course? So that's tricky because it depends. Again, it depends on the course and it depends on the department, and it depends on how that specific department handles course registration. So whether the waitlist is processed automatically or manually. So it depends if the department is giving specific permission codes for students to enroll. But if you're waitlisted for a class and you're pretty, low on the waiting list in terms of chances of getting in, then you would want to consider having backup options in terms of courses you can take instead, and have that ready to take if you don't get into your waitlisted course. Just always keep in mind the add drop deadlines for the semester, and make sure you make your schedule changes before those deadlines. We have a couple more minutes, and before we wrap up, if you have any last minute questions, feel free to ask through chat. If not, thank you all for joining me for this online group session for engineering undeclared students. And I hope that you were able to gain some information. And if you have additional questions, please let me know. You can send me an email, and we can correspond that way. This recording and the Prezi, I'll try to post and email everyone so they can have access to it. Okay, one last question from Victor asked, do students ever have trouble meeting the unit requirement? It's pretty rare that students have issues with the minimum number of units required to graduate, which is 120 units. That's the minimum number of units to graduate, and a lot of students come in with a handful of units already, either from AP units or transfer credit units from community college or something like that. So, it's pretty rare that students um, are low in the unit count and aren't able to graduate because the program and curriculum has a fair amount of units for students to take. All right, so that is it for this online session. Thank you, everyone, for participating, and thank you for joining us in the online session. Again, I'll post up this Prezi and this recording for you to access later, and let me know and email me if you have any questions. Thanks, everyone, and bye.